Give it a second. Hold on, give it a second. And we are live.
Yes. Welcome to episode number 40 of the Risk Reward Show presented by Risk Reward Media. My name is Chris Mercado, and as usual, I am joined by
Derek Stroman.
And we're here to help you find the upside in your career, in your business ventures, and in your personal lives. For episode 40, we will continue this theme of the great recalculation, and we will discuss whether or not we are under or over invested in cryptocurrencies. But before we get to the main topic, let's get to our Risk Reward Weekly Rewind. So Derek, how are you feeling? And how do you feel about the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, being reappointed?
So Mr. Powell, AKA, the guy who really sets the law when it comes to, anything dealing with money. Happy to see him back, really. I feel like for me, I really got intro to him when I feel like when there was like a big hype around stocks, and like literally every time he spoke, like everybody would literally stop and just listen to everything he said and really kind of like just like pick apart it his just like his talks and all that. But I'm happy to see him back. I know you mentioned before that is like a sense of stability, and you don't want to have to change like Fed chairs at this time, knowing that the market's like going crazy right now. So happy to see him back, but let's see what he does next. How about you?
Yeah,
How
so
you feeling about it?
Stability is the right move, and at a time where things feel kind of high, or at least overvalued. And we are in the time of the year where generally the markets perform really well. So there might be some tumult early this week, but generally December and January are great for the stock market. I don't know about other markets. However, there are these forces like supply chain issues and inflation that are putting pressure on a lot of decision makers. And I think with this pressure, it makes the most sense for President Biden to reappoint. So it's sensible. I like sensible. We put it this way. With this decision, the downside was minimized so that we can continue to find the upside.
Not a lot of risk, sounds like.
Not a lot of added risk. Like now's not the time to add more risk. We have enough risks out there. So this was I think a mature, stable move, and I'm for it.
Okay.
So we're gonna go from a stable move to a not very stable move on a couple of parties. So let's get to sports, and the highlight of last night wasn't football. It was actually a Detroit Piston game. So Derek, walk us through that highlight that shook up the NBA at least for 24 hours.
Still now. So you had the Los Angeles Lakers play the Detroit Pistons. The game was, going, and I forget what quarter it happened, but there was a free throw that happened, and Isaiah Stewart and LeBron James were lined up, and then LeBron James threw an elbow just to get Stewart off of him.
A spinning elbow.
A spinning elbow.
Missed with the elbow, but actually caught with like the back of the fist.
Still, you don't do that. I get why you would do it in case someone's touching you. You may want to like fling like their arm off, but for you to spin this way, that's it does come off as like a very dirty play. So after that happened, Isaiah
It caught
Thomas.
him.
Mhm.
Isaiah Stewart. Right? That fist caught him right above the eye, where
Yes.
like the skin is really good.
Yeah. So think of like, when boxers, when they have their match and they get cut right here and he had like a big gash, that's the type of cut that Isaiah Stewart had. At first he didn't know that he was cut. I've been on the receiving end of those elbows, and at first you don't feel anything. It just feels you like, oh, it's like, why does right here feel numb? But little did he know that his skin split apart. So literally he approached LeBron James. It was like a little scuffle. I'm pretty sure he said, yo, like watch those elbows. But then it got like really, just like a whole bunch of pushing. Once he started to see blood, that's when he went cuckoo for Cocoa Buffs in terms of chasing people. He literally pushed down coaches, pushed down players.
His
Like,
own coaches, his own teammates.
yeah.
He did it. He did an okie doke where he's like, all right, I'm cool, I'm
And
calm.
then it ran.
And then he hit a circle.
Yeah.
Try to
I
loop
mean,
around, try to get him.
but Isaiah Thomas isn't no small boy. I think he's either 6'7" or 6'8", 250 pounds. Like that's a solid man. So for him to be pushing people like that and running through, just trying to bull those people, I'm pretty sure he's going to receive like some type of fine, just the fact that he pushed people. But most definitely some fine should come, Bron's way. One thing I will say is that it's the memes have been hilarious. There is this one meme where there's like a wrestling of Jim Ross that's speaking over it. He's, oh my god, he's coming for him. It's funny. Speaking of wrestling, Survivor Series was last night too. Adam the Barclays, but back to Bron. Two points I have about this. One, I feel like yes, LeBron did do like a dirty play. He should be fined for it. He should be just like penalized for it. But I think Isaiah Thomas is going to get more of the blame or more of like the like backlash because he's going after LeBron James. Like there are certain people you don't go after. You don't go after LeBron. You don't go after Curry, and you don't go after Kevin Durant. I think those three are like the league. So if he was to punch Bron and then break his jaw, then what does that do for the league? Then what does that do for the owners? So I think there's going to be some type of, talking in terms of like, yo, these are certain people you don't go after. I know you may want to, just like hurt him, but he is the face to face of the league. But then also I think it was very performative for when he was in his face to kind of, talk. And then once he realizes that it's blood, that's when he starts to charge at him. I'm like, you had that chance to hold him and just like just like choke him up there, but you waited until a couple of minutes after until you saw blood. So I'm pretty sure that Isaiah will probably hear from the league pretty soon on what fines are coming his way. But what's your take on it? Like, did you see did you see it? You think Bron's in the blame?
I saw the whole 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I might feel like Isaiah Stewart. So there's some info missing in how we're interpreting it. And so look, if you a spinning backhanded fist, it's not like a basketball move, right? Mm-hmm. So the initial reaction is like, oh, yo, he just hit me. I got hit to the floor. And I get back up, I'm going to have some words. I think something was said that tipped him off even more, right? And then in the moments where like it escalated just with words, you could see the cut open up, but like the blood drip into his mouth. So he's tasting his own blood now.
And that's when he's furious.
And then that, I have been in, let's say, a couple of altercations when I was younger, and I didn't care that it was an accident. But that was a dirty play. LeBron didn't mean for that result, but he surely meant to a non-basketball move that would intimidate. and I would not have appreciated that if there was anything other than like, bro, I'm sorry. Like I wasn't trying to. I wouldn't be trying to hear that. Like, but I'm pretty sure LeBron wasn't saying, "Bro, I'm sorry." It could have been like a quick "my bad," but like whatever followed up after, I feel like something was said, and it could have been diffused right there. That's why that initial you're like it was performative. I think that initial like, did this just happen to me? Because I have been in those situations where my initial reaction wasn't to go, "I'm going to get you." Right? I don't care like who was bigger. There's a time to like process like, did that just happen? But then the idea of like, wait, now I'm tasting my own blood right now. So yes, I can understand the very human desire to get revenge then and there, especially like in the heat of battle. But I don't think the Lakers did anything to like diffuse that situation, and there came a point where there was no diffusing. The funniest thing was Isaiah Stewart. He ended up going to the tunnel to go back to his own locker room, but the locker rooms are connected, like the tunnel ways. So he was gonna loop around to come around the Lakers, the visitors locker room, and come around the court that way, right? And yeah, like just ask yourself, like, if you were on that Laker team, what if that had happened to your teammate?
Yeah.
Or if you're playing, or like even if you're not an athlete, if someone did like a dirty move like that, how would you? So both folks should get suspended. I actually think it should be equal amount of games, because that actually sends the message to LeBron that, to the league, that we're not doing too much in terms of like star treatment. But that was a dirty play from LeBron, and it's not characteristic. He's not a dirty person, but that play was dirty.
Yeah, that play was very dirty. The highlight for me goes to Russell Westbrook and Carmelo Anthony. Russell Westbrook. Oh, and plus, just to add to, the Lakers did win that game, but Russell Westbrook had a monster dunk, and I think he also got a tech too. I don't know how he got a tech, but I think
he didn't know until the press conference.
Yeah, he was like, "What?" But when you spoke about how Isaiah Stewart was trying to go around the actual through the locker rooms, there's this video of just Melo saying like, he's not coming this way. He's not coming this way. Like, I don't care what you say, he's not coming this way. And a lot of people I spoke to, it was like, since when Melo acts like this? I'm like, Melo, there's few players that are really about that life, and Melo is definitely one of them.
Melo's a low-key one. He met Kevin Garnett outside the bus.
Outside, he was like, yeah, because Kevin Garnett was trash talking, and Melo was like, copy, enough said, I got you.
So Kevin, I remember that game, and Kevin crossed the line because he said something about Lala. And
Lala, I think he said like Lala tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios or something like that. Disrespectful.
So and they're not together anymore, but at the time, that's the line that generally professional athletes, not that I am one, but that's the line that does not get crossed. Once you talk about family, then it gets personal, especially like a wife or like kids. Like that's the line that can't cross. So yeah, Melo's one of the few people, but I understand the anger, and both of them should be suspended. So, but it made for an entertaining Sunday evening of sports, unexpected.
Most definitely.
Sports.
Most definitely.
And to transition into our main topic, another part of my Sunday evening was reflecting on my crypto assets, and I'll hit you with some breaking news. My first 2 NFTs, non-fungible token.
Uh-oh.
Um, and this is really aligned with what we want to talk about today, as part of our bigger theme of the great recalculation. Last week in episode 39, we talked about asset allocation. So how we divided up our entire asset base and in terms of real estate versus stocks versus crypto. And now the deeper dive comes with this episode 40, where we ask ourselves and indirectly we ask you all, are we all under invested or over invested in cryptocurrency? So that's the main question we're going to ask to help all of us find the upside. And I think since Derek is the crypto expert between the two of us, Derek, you had mentioned last episode that about 20% of your assets is in crypto. Can you start off with a deeper dive on how you have allocated that 100% of that 20%, right?
Sure.
So how do you divide that up and why?
So I wouldn't say I'm a crypto expert yet. I would say I'm heavily involved in it. So I'm always reading on like different projects, what's like coming out, what projects are doing well, what projects are doing bad. But when it comes to my portfolio in crypto, I would say about 65% is in ETH and Bitcoin. The reason why I choose those two, well, I would say I have more ETH than I do to Bitcoin, just because I got ETH when it was like 300 or 400 or like $400. So when I was doing that dollar cost average, I was getting like actual coins compared to Bitcoin that I think at the time was at like 6,000. So I wasn't really getting like a full coin. But ETH and Bitcoin are like my top two. So I would say that's about like 65 percent. Next, it would be Ripple XRP. Ripple is think if you're trying to transfer money from like here to give me a country, to Brazil or something like that. Rather than taking that, normally takes like 10 days for the money to clear through the bank. A lot of these banks are using XRP to make that transaction happen a lot faster. Right now, XRP is having some holdup with the SEC, so you're not able to buy it on Coinbase. Like you can still buy it on like other places. I think not PancakeSwap. It's called Bit something, or I think it's probably Bitmart. I think that's where you can possibly buy it from. But when XRP, when I got in on XRP, it was about like 3 cents, 4 cents. So literally I would start off with probably like $25 like every check. It wouldn't be like a large amount, but with that 25, I'm buying 4 cents worth. So I'll probably get like 100, 200 coins like every time. So as the price, as I started to get more money, I was like, rather than 25, let's do 50. So that's how those coins came up. Another coin that it'll be 65% of ETH and the Bitcoin. The next is Ripple, but throughout the others, it's like varying, just like levels. But I would say another coin that I'm very heavily invested in is a Chainlink. That one I really, the fact that has buy-in from like companies like Google, and you have like other companies like I think Microsoft is looking into Chainlink also. But when you start to see like these larger Fortune 500 companies either partner or start to adopt that tech, that's a good sign for me. But on top of those four, I have Cardano, I have AMP, USD coin. I'm have to. So USD coin, what I use that for is when I buy my Top Shops. And also with the USD coin and with USD coin you gain, I forget how much just like interest on it, but like it's not like a lot, but the fact that you gain some interest on it, I think that's cool. Algorand, same thing, you gain some interest on that. I believe it's 4% every year. Batcoin. So if anybody's familiar with the Brave browser, the Brave browser is one of these new browsers that it's very heavily focused on just like privacy. So let's say, for instance, you know how if you go on like Google Chrome, you get a whole bunch of ads that might just like pop up. With the Brave browser, it blocks it all. And how you would use the Brave browser is, let's say, for instance, if you want to view this ad, you get Bat coins for viewing this ad. So I was looking into this as a creator, because if I'm able to show people ads, then I would get paid in Brave also, Bat coins. So that's, I feel like it hasn't exploded like how I wanted it to, but I do see a lot of people using the Brave browser. So the fact that there's a lot of user adoption, I think that's going to be a coin that's going to be something to really look forward to. And another thing that's big with crypto, the reason why I have like a bunch of AMP coins, is because you're able to stake these coins also. So basically what staking is let's say, for instance, if you're letting the blockchain use these coins. So AMP in particular, what they do is, if, let's say, for instance, Chris, I'm pretty sure that the fact that you recently said how high these gas fees are. So let's say, for instance, you buy something with ETH. It takes a long time, or even probably a Bitcoin. It may take about like 20 minutes for it to actually go through, and sometimes that payment may fail. AMP is used as a collateral until that payment goes through, or like it does like actually happen. So what I'm doing now is I'm staking my AMP coins on the Flexa network, to basically, so they can use my coins. So on top of them using my coins, I do get a kickback for them using my coin. So whenever I buy more AMP, I put that onto the Flexa the network, so it could be used. So I personally don't hold my AMP. My AMP is being used, but every time it's being used, I get a kickback from it. And I think you can do that with mostly, not all of the coins, but there's a whole bunch of coins that you can do that with too. But when it comes to my portfolio, I really look for what is like the actual use case. What is the buy-in? So like, who's really looking at on these coins, whether it be people that people that I trust, or like the actual, these Fortune 500 companies. And also, like, does it actually make sense? Like, do I see that this is something that the world is going to? I know the Web 3.0 is something that's like very, very big. The metaverse continues. There's news dropping about the metaverse like every other day. Nike's building like Nike Land now, which is going to be wild. But there's so much happening, and I really think that in the event of these coins could actually be like useful, I just don't want to miss that, that when it finally just, it takes off. But that's how I really look at my portfolio. And I know for you, you probably had, I know the last show you mentioned that you had only 5% in your assets within crypto. But question to you, do you feel as if you're overinvested or underinvested?
Now I feel like I'm underinvested.
Mm.
And this is about me going through the process of like, again, yesterday, all of yesterday, afternoon and evening, it took me 8 hours to figure out what I was doing. A lot of that was more like verification, and also how to get around, like, again, high gas fees. But I'll start from the beginning, which is, one, you got a little bit complex for me, so my approach is going to be a lot simpler. If I break down the 5% of the assets that I have in crypto, within that 5%, 60% would be Ethereum, 35% is Bitcoin, and as of last night, 5% would be in NFTs, non-fungible tokens, but not art, not what's been hot. I feel like I have missed out on that explosion, but I didn't want to miss out on the next one. And I'll talk a little bit more in future episodes about Web 3.0, but I, at the very least, wanted to get more active and involved. So that's why my breakdown is 60% ETH, 35% BTC, and now it's 5% in NFTs. The reason it's more Ethereum is because Ethereum is the gateway to Web 3.0, where I think I think all the fun things happen. So I know that everyone is looking at the coins that they own. I am thinking more about the technology that gave birth to these coins, and in turn, how some of these coins, so let's take Ethereum, or I've been reading up on like Avalanche and Solana, they're also gateways
yes.
into like Web 3.0, right? So they're not just coins for the sake of the way we think of like physical coins. They're sort of like the coins you put into like a game or in an amusement park. They're the tokens that you put in so you can play around in the amusement park. And I think of Web 3.0 as an amusement park right now. So for me, I don't have design or like fine art skills, but I can write really well. The reason I'm going to next week to Vegas is largely because of how I wrote about my career journey and my impact. So writing is a very important skill for me. It's also something that comes pretty easily to me. So now I'm thinking about ways where I can leverage. I found platforms like Mirror, where writers can get paid to write. So now I'm thinking about, well, all these things that I published for free in the Web 2.0 space, which is what we're currently in, or what most of us operate from, right? HTTPS colon / right? That world, like I gave so much intellectual property for free, right? And no more. I don't want that anymore. I think I have gems to share, gems that have helped other people. So now you're gonna have to compensate me in cryptocurrency, preferably Ethereum. And that's gonna be my way in to be that creator in the Web 3.0 space. So I got plans just to monetize the writing part. And then I have other plans. So the things that I bought were not art, but I think of them as real estate in Web 3.0. So when you think about the idea of like domain names in Web 2.0, I have sort of approached, I have like gone after the equivalent in Web 3.0. And that's my way to get in. It's for me, whether or not, because they are non-fungible tokens that could be sold, right? Whether or not they're sold, I can make use of the presence of what I just bought. So I know my behavior is sometimes off the chain, but I am now on the chain. I'm now So I'm on the blockchain. I'm exploring ways to create social good, but also create wealth and avenues of creativity in Web 3.0 now. So I'm
awesome.
going to devote more time in these winter months. When it's cold outside, I will be inside paying really high gas fees, unfortunately.
Yeah. Two things I want to mention. So Solana, I'm waiting until it pulls back till around like 200. Then I'm gonna go like all in. because there's so much going on within like that project, and I think like you said earlier, like this is the like you said, like it's like playing within like the park, right? Playing within the yeah.
Web
Yes.
2.0 to me is an amusement park, and you need the cryptocurrencies as your like entry ticket or that token that you
Mhm.
put to go to a ride.
Yeah. And the second thing was NFTs. Like it's crazy how like it's only really focused on art, but I know there's so in the fact that you have your, you bought something that's within like that real estate, well, not just like, the real estate space, but you bought something besides art. I think that's where the actual NFTs, like you can actually use that. Because it's one of whatever many. It's not just like a lazy lion or something like that. I mean, even those lazy lions, they're going for like millions of dollars, which I think is wild. There's a project that I have my eye on that I'm doing more research on it, but the cost of it in dollars is about $2,000 for this, the pixel. But if it works well, people can buy it. People and I can probably just like flip it and stuff like that. So for flipping reasons, I'm looking into like the art, but for NFT, I'm trying to find something with like actual property. Like if there's a way that I can buy like a virtual home, something like that, I think that's where it's going to be like useful. Or if it's something dealing with just like owning land, if there's like an NFT space for that, that's where my eyes are like really on. So I'm pretty sure.
Isn't the Decentraland, isn't that a space?
Yeah, but well, yeah, actually, yeah, it's like that's like your park. But with like they're gonna have like Nike Land and all of these other places. I think like Microsoft is gonna have like a space in there. Tesla most definitely and stuff like that. But I'm looking for like, I guess like the actual like, let's say for instance, if I'm buying property, it's like I only have like one of these. Like this is like, one of three properties that were built or something like that. Like it could be on the blockchain, but it's like a physical item. So that's what I'm trying to find. But yeah, like NFTs are not just art. So I'm happy that you found something that's outside of that art realm that you can really say like this is mine.
So one, it's the equivalent, right? The closest equivalent would be like a Web 2.0 domain name, right? And I guess you could relate that to a physical address in real life, right?
Mhm.
Or at least that's how it was equated before. So I got that, and there can only be one name, one place named that, or one non-fungible token named that.
Mm.
And what I did is I did my research, and again, the reason why this took 8 hours. So I went on Namecheap,
My favorite website.
right? And what I did is I typed in a whole bunch of words to see what would be available, and then I cross-referenced on Namecheap, and I found one that, again, in the equivalent of a domain name on Namecheap, it was $500,000. So I was like, wait, this is still open? So I was like, cool. So I ran to a computer real quick. I was like, how do I figure this out? Because this is the first time I've engaged in this like transaction. It's actually multiple transactions, right? And the total cost is like 220 in ETH, right? I was like, all right, I can handle that. Lock that up for 10 years, right? And then I found out, oh, I could put this up for auction on OpenSea or Variable. It's like, great. But what I chose, I can use. So I have optionality here. If somebody wants to bid up and to buy it, I'd be open to it as long as there's enough money. And then because this is like very, very early, well, still relatively early in the space, I was just amazed that like one, the more people get in it, like the more viable that community is. But so many things were left open, and I'm not done yet because I created a list. Also, what's great about this is because Web 3.0 is built on openness and transparency. I also know when these things are expiring that other people own. So they're on my calendar. So folks,
12 a.m.
folks forget to pay, to re-up, or folks forgot their password, I'm coming after it, right? And that's that's the first space I'm gonna stake my claim. And then the other part is, you talked about art. My writing is a masterpiece sometimes. I know, because it's led to opportunities for me and for other people, right? So that for me is a masterpiece. So what I will say about this art is, I want to create art. I want to create masterpieces through my writing. That's also useful. So the thing about collecting NFT art is, it's cool, it's fun, but is an NBA Top Shot really useful for you, Derek?
I'm saving it because I have like Pokemon cards and like Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I don't use, but I know they're like, I have a Charizard that's worth money. So
but is it useful in your like everyday practical life?
No, of course not.
It's for show, right? And
Yeah.
we all deserve things for show. But I want to explore the space where I can make it, this is a beautiful piece of writing, but it's also a useful piece of writing for an individual, or for a collection of individuals.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm going after. So any of our followers, any of our supporters can help or want to jump in on this and explore together, let's do it. But I think my experience last night was transformative, where, all right, I got it. I'm going to explore more over the coming months.
And I'm all about finding like new types of hustles. And I just want to say Namecheap. I literally have it on my favorites, because if I see something and think of something, I'm like, is there like a website for that? And if it isn't, I'll buy it for, I think Namecheap, if you buy something simple, it's probably like $10 a year or something cheap like that. But well, Namecheap. So, but the fact that you found something within that space that wasn't used, I think that's gold. Because there's going to be some company that's probably going to change their name, aka Facebook, to Meta, and realize that, oh, like we want that name, and they'll pay you the bag for it.
I also did that cross check, make sure I didn't USPTO the tests. I want to make sure I also didn't pick something that was already taken.
Yeah.
Because then there would be like,
you really did research.
I did.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me not go there. So I had to thread this needle where, like, I think this could be profitable, won't be a waste, but I could still make it useful at some point. And I got more to claim. So waiting for the right time, but also, you just want to nibble at first. I'm not gonna buy all the things right now, and then come to find out, maybe I was wrong, or like the members of the community were wrong, and it doesn't go anywhere. Like I didn't want to do that. So my foot is definitely in the door.
There you go. I like it.
So hopefully that rationale and also that breakdown was helpful to folks. So again, we encourage you all to share, comment, follow. Again, Derek has a more diversified portfolio within crypto. I only have 3 types of things in my crypto portfolio, but I'm looking to expand my horizons in this Web 3.0 space, and indirectly, actually more directly, also enhancing my ETH, or maybe like Solana, or even Avalanche, looking into those. And hopefully, Derek, we're in person again sometime soon, and you can give me a few more pointers.
Definitely will. Yes. Like I said before, Solana, I'm waiting for, there's like a little bit of pullback because I missed it when it was like around like 190 something. But I took some profits from a couple of stocks I had. So it's time to reinvest.
All right, smart move. And speaking of smart moves, we will go to our right move right now to close out this episode. And my right move right now is all about the blockchain, right? So y'all have to get on the blockchain in some way. Cryptocurrency, so blockchain enables cryptocurrency, but then crypto enables you to get into like Web 3.0. That's the flow of how I see things. But everybody, you got to get on to at least dip your toe in the water. And I want to frame it this way. If you've ever felt like you missed out on the tech boom since like the late 90s, I don't want you feeling that regret with Web 3.0. And so I know it doesn't feel like we missed out on the tech boom sometimes because we use tech so much, but I'm talking about being on the creator side, not the consumer side. So we want this culture, at least for folks on this show, we want this culture of finding the upside of being a creator and a producer. And I don't want to live this next phase of my life not thinking about being a creator or producer in the Web 3.0 space. So I'm not being left behind again. So that's my approach to it.
I love it. I love it. I know you have another one that I wanted you to get to, but what's happening on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, so it's just a lighthearted taped sketch between Simu Liu and Bowen Yang. And so Bowen Yang is a cast member. Simu has skyrocketed in popularity as an actor. And they had this sketch of like these silly awards of being the first Asian male to do whatever, right? Just really silly awards, but it's this idea of like there being like firsts in so many different things. And on one end, it's like ridiculous that it's taken so long to have like, and whatever, right? And on the other hand, it's a sign of progress. And to approach what could be controversial or like sensitive topics, I don't think it's that controversial, but some others might. But to approach it in a humorous way, I think humor is the way to attack difficult issues. So I really like how they did it. The satire was hilarious. And when you see two Asian men on Saturday Night Live, you don't, or any show for that matter, right? Which is, again, reminiscent of some of the episodes that we had, some of the early episodes when it was like Stop Asian Hate. And I'll talk about just the lack of representation, particularly of Asian men in like lead roles. So good to see that. And hopefully, like, look, I say this all the time, right? You go from being predominantly white to then now advocating for like Black folks, like that doesn't even out to other populations. You're still going to have to help out other populations, whether it's like Hispanic or like Latino communities, Native American communities, especially on this month, and the AAPI community. So it was great to see that shine, even if it was like a 3.5 minute skit on a Saturday night.
Yeah, Bowen Yang I saw one time at I forget what comedy club it was, but he was just like a pop up, and I had no idea how funny he like really was. But my right move right now, it is going to be a short week for everybody. A lot of our colleagues are out for the entire week. Thanksgiving falls on Thursday. I use this time to spend time with family, but also watch some football. Word of advice for those who are going to be, huh?
Don't bet on the Lions on Thanksgiving football. That's my word.
Word of advice for everybody. Not everybody's macaroni salad is good. So just be careful. Just be careful out there. Watch out for dry turkey. Dry turkey sometimes runs very, very rampant on Thanksgiving Day. And don't and yeah, and just don't be that person to show up just for food and then leave with like 4 plates. Actually, spend time with your family, but definitely take this time to recharge. We're at the end of the year, so things are gonna get pretty like the end of the year is gonna come really, really fast. So use these few days to really kind of just like recharge and like step back and all that. But we want everyone to have a very safe, non-elbow throwing Thanksgiving.
Unless you're throwing those turkey elbows. Yes, that's a great way to close out. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Gobble gobble.